You're watching Forget Being Cool.
Today is Tuesday, April 16th. We've got the tech specs for the PlayStation 5 and a brand new Xbox. To talk about it, Jonny Casino and Keith Dollar here. This is Forget Being Cool News.
Forget Being Cool News.
Hello.
Hi, Keith.
Hi.
Hi, John.
Hi, Dave.
Guys, today's a big day. We got new consoles. Kind of.
Two of them.
On the
Sort
same
of.
day, kind of.
Yeah. I wonder if there was a correlation between that fact.
I wonder myself that feeling. What do you guys want to start with? What are you feeling?
I say let's do the Xbox first because it's relatively minor news in the scheme of things.
I mean,
And then-
I'm all for a new Xbox. Tell me what I'm buying tomorrow, Keith.
Nothing,
if you're
hopefully.
For your sake, hopefully nothing. So we have an Xbox One S that basically just loses. It's all the all digital edition, which loses the disc drive. So no more 4K Blu-rays, no more physical disc media. It comes 1 terabyte, and then I want to say it comes with Sea of Thieves, Forza 4, and
Oh, no, not Forza 4.
Forza
Forza
Horizon
3.
Is it Horizon 3? I thought it was
Yes.
Horizon
Yes.
4 at least. Okay,
Uh-uh.
so Forza Horizon 3, Sea of Thieves, and I'm missing something.
Minecraft.
Minecraft? Okay. Which, fine, whatever. You know, the games really aren't that important. But it literally is the exact same system. There is nothing different about the physical dimensions. It's 1 terabyte. The part that I thought was killer for me, and don't get me wrong, they're not going to really sell this thing for $250 when you start seeing bundles and stores and stuff like that. But when the MSRP is $250 and you regularly see the Xbox One S regular with the disc sold for $200 with like multiple games, it's like, what are you doing? Like I thought I really expected it to be at least $200 MSRP.
So I saw something, and I don't know what the source was, but it was saying that it will always be $50 less. So, yeah, so if they start putting out or if they reduce the price for a period of time or whatever, in theory, this will also get reduced.
Yeah, and don't, like I said, I don't expect to truly see it for $250 on a regular basis, other than when there's for whatever reason no sale going on. It just seems weird when all the time you see the S for $200 to see this priced at $250 without a disc drive, and yeah, that's really all.
So I was disappointed. I was disappointed because they could have made it smaller, and I get it. I'm
Absolutely.
sure they have like all these cases just like sitting in a warehouse somewhere, and they're like, well, we haven't punched the slot out on these ones yet, so let's just leave it in there.
Yeah,
But they could have made it smaller. They could have made it to where you can just like throw it in a backpack pretty easy. I don't know who does that except for me when I travel, but it's like they took away the good stuff. They took away the 4K Blu-ray, which I think is probably the best thing about it.
it's the main reason it sells in Japan.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, here, let's take this thing out and make it the exact same size. It blows my mind. Don't
I
get
mean,
me wrong.
I
There's
get
an audience for this.
I get,
Who?
why they probably, there's not really much of an audience. The audience will be on Black Friday. This is the cheapest bundle, and Fortnite's downloadable only, so you can get this for Johnny for $150, and he can play Fortnite, and that's all he cares about. So he can play Fortnite with his friends. He doesn't need a disc drive. He doesn't care about 4K Blu-rays.
Will it get marked down to $150? Because I feel like that's
On Black Friday, I think it will.
because
I
that
think it will on Black.
that is the sweet spot. If this thing's for $150, I don't care what size it is, John. I know you want to travel with it, but if you got this thing down to $150, it came with these games, and if Microsoft is actually going to take my games and give me digital copies, right?
See, they didn't say anything about that.
I
did
know.
they?
I don't know.
But that I would have cared about. Some games I would have been more than happy to get the digital version, but I didn't see anything about that.
So
Go ahead, John.
So here's the thing, though, is like, you two may or may not know this. There's this thing out there called Game Pass, right?
Uh-huh.
And
What is that? We might maybe there's something to talk about with that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
there probably is, but with Game Pass and with games with gold, there's gonna be the audience for it, right? There's gonna be these people that go all digital. They never had an Xbox before. They buy this thing. They get the Game Pass games with gold thing they just put out is $15 a month, which is actually not saving you any money if you get your
You're
subscription
losing
to
money.
both. But you get this, and you have everything you need, and for a pretty solid price, especially when we talk about the discounts that will come in the future.
Yeah.
But man, it just
Well,
seems like
They
a
they,
waste.
they could have gone smaller, but here's why they didn't. I mean, we're too
It's-
late in the generation. Next year, the new consoles will be out. They're not going to take the resources they would have had to do to get smaller, smaller motherboard sizes and things like that to put it in an actual physical smaller case. And this late in the generation, even though there are people that would use this, there's not that many people that don't already have an Xbox, but we're waiting for this to get in. You know what I mean?
I have 3 physical Xbox One games.
I
Dragon Ball,
have 3 in my hotel room right now.
Dragon Ball Fighters, Forza Horizon 3, and Halo Master Chief Collection. Why I have
Right.
those? Why I have those games physically? I don't know. They just happen to be the best deal. My Xbox is all digital. If you would have shoved a bigger hard drive in this thing, maybe a solid state drive in it. I'm assuming it's
too
not
expensive.
a solid state.
And I mean, I have 3, and one of them technically is a digital code that was Cuphead that came with like a little lithograph on it.
That's not a physical copy.
I know, but it came in a physical case.
Yeah, but for someone who's like a price conscious gamer like I am, like, so I travel, I bring my Xbox with me, and I literally have 3 games in my hotel room right now. 2 of them I think I borrowed from somebody, and the other one is something I got that's normally $60 and I picked it up for 20. And that's why I need that disc drive, because you can get those deals, you can borrow the games, you can do all this stuff, you can game so much cheaper. If everything goes all digital, they'll have their sales in time.
Yeah.
But if you want something relatively soon, you're not going to get a deal on it in a digital form.
Well, the reason I have most of my stuff digital nowadays is because of all the deals.
Right.
But it's stuff that I'm picking up after the fact. It's not, it's not stuff that I'm buying, day one, even like 2 weeks in. Those physical prices drop faster, especially around Christmas time. I mean, look at like was it Fallout 76, which dropped in half in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, but that was
something
other
like-
reasons.
But there are a lot of examples like that. It's just that's a high profile one.
I would have been
Yeah.
thrilled with this thing if it was cheaper, but the fact that it's the same price as the S, right? Basically, most of the time, why would you get this? You're throwing away a 4K Blu-ray player for no advantage. Like, if there was an advantage, if it was smaller, if it, it had a solid state, so it loaded
It's
faster. Any
the-
reason to justify that this console was better, bigger hard drive, even, right? But you can get
The console is for parents that are only going to care about the absolute lowest bottom line to get their kid an Xbox to play something,
Now-
Fortnite, Apex,
Now-
whatever.
Now, to argue the games on the console, Forza Horizon 3 is a better game than 4. And I say that as a huge fan of both games. Over time, I like 3 better. Just say.
Still, they still could have put the newest one, or they could have been like, "Here's this," and when you buy it, you get a year of Xbox Live and Game Pass. Granted,
which is the missed opportunity here, John. You're right.
I think I would have rather had that than 3 games that you could have had, a
Yeah.
couple of
Oh,
them.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
2 of them,
They're all $20
no, 2 of them
games.
are on Game Pass.
I think all 3 of them are, aren't they?
Forza Horizon 3 is not, I don't think.
And Minecraft isn't,
Right.
is it?
Minecraft,
No,
it
Minecraft was just
will
added
be
just
soon.
recently, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Then what is the point of this?
Yeah, yes,
Guys,
solid question.
don't buy the Xbox all digital edition, because it's for nobody. If it goes down to 150, if I could shove these things as like media streaming boxes, those would be justifiable.
A year ago, 2 years ago, if you did this $100 cheaper, and there would be people. I think at this point it's just too late.
Yeah.
It's more of an experiment for them to see how many people will buy it, how much adoption there would be of it, just to see what they can do kind of with the next gen. Because I can't imagine they're planning on selling too many of these.
I mean, for 150, dude, I would make these Netflix boxes that just so happen to play Xbox games.
Xbox. Yeah.
Right, like that.
So-
that would be a justifiable amount. Plus, I mean, controllers are what, $60. So really, I'm getting a streaming box for $60 ish, if it's at 150.
Okay, so here's my one question. So the joke has been made over and over again that it's the Xbox One S all
AD.
digital edition. So it's the
Xbox
Xbox
sad.
One sad, right? So how long until these things pop up on the shelves and people start posting pictures with like frowny faces on them because they're sitting on the shelves and not being sold?
How many times do you think people will go into GameStop and on the display box there's actually Sharpie brownie faces on them?
Well, he looks frozen. There you go. Dave, is everything good now?
I think we're good now.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Dave.
They cut out
So-
there. I said the GameStop frowny shaped marker thing. I don't know if anybody heard it.
Yeah, we didn't really
No, we
talk too
heard
much
you.
more about it, but yeah, on our side we seemed good. So the big news this morning, of course, was at 8 a.m. Eastern time, which obviously it was whatever you want to call it, where they had to have an agreement where it could go up. But Wired magazine releases the first official confirmed details of the PlayStation 5 or whatever the hell they end up calling it.
Oh, hold on. Stop right there.
I assume PlayStation 5. also.
What the
but-
heck? What the heck? Wired. Highwired.com.
Well, they're not going to say this is the official name.
Well, and,
I mean-
and they talk about that in the article too. Like they talked about the fact that he just kept referring to it as the next console.
Generation PlayStation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's definitely going to have a different name, guys. Get ready. It's going to be
You-
the PlayStation.
Well, you know what? Here's something I saw today, and we'll see if it actually does it. Because so here's the big bullet points. Number one. So
Wait, hold on a
Is-
second. There are no big bullet points to this thing.
no, there are.
PlayStation.
No,
it's the
nothing was
PlayStation
big
Snap. Let's
about
just name
this
it.
announcement. Like I'm happy it's there. I'm happy they're talking
Ooh,
about
well-
it. But there was nothing big, nothing that you couldn't have at least semi-predicted.
See, now that's where I disagree because, and this isn't just PlayStation 4. This is for what Xbox was last generation also. Xbox One and PlayStation 4 were practically identical systems from a tech perspective, other than the Type 5 RAM in the PlayStation 4. Everything
Okay.
else was almost identical. What a lot of people don't realize or that don't know enough about the tech specs on these things was the CPUs in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were very, relatively speaking, low-level mobile-based CPUs, which is why we've struggled so much, mainly with frame rates this generation. So for me, bullet point number one that was big, the processors that they're using in this, they are 8-core processors. The only thing that has 8 cores or more right now are the equivalent of an i7,
So
Okay.
my new
a
computer,
desktop i7.
my
yes.
my desktop 4K multi-camera graphics card powered
And I know
editing
it's-
machine.
I know it's a year out. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying it's going to be the equivalent of like an i7 absolute top of the line unlocked, but it's a desktop full big boy CPU. Okay. That isn't even announced yet. So like last time when these systems came out, the CPUs and the GPUs that were put in them were very much already out of date on the computer side. These CPUs and GPUs are not even out yet for computers, which is a big deal when you talk about a closed box system.
Okay, but here's the problem, right? You can have all the specs you want, and you can talk about how cool it is, and oh, it does these things that these big ones do. But what really matters to the gamer, to the consumer, is how it's going to affect you, right? Like how it's going to affect you. And we all assume frame rates will go up when
Sure.
generations go up. We all assumed the visual effects are going to go up. So like these things were assumed. The fact that it goes to 8K. One isn't going to matter for a while because
No,
I
and
haven't even seen an 8K TV on.
I've seen one, and I wasn't that impressed compared to 4K.
Yeah, so that doesn't matter. This
Ray tracing.
motion, yeah,
Native 4K gaming is a big deal to me. I'd like
but
us,
you get
but I get it now on my X.
yeah. So, but you had to know. Okay, it was going to go whatever the next step was. All right, cool. We got what we expected out of that. The ray
Well,
tracing.
we got what we expected in that it's more, but it's always going to be more. It's never going to go backwards. It's a question of how much more. And while they didn't say teraflop, like a full-blown desktop CPU and GPU is a big deal, no matter how you slice it. And look, I don't expect that like the Xbox is going to be much different. They're going to be very similar again, there'll be different things they do slightly
Except-
different in how they do certain things, but the main GPU and CPU I expect to be very, very similar. I don't think this is a case like, oh, the PlayStation is going to be 3 times more powerful than the Xbox or anything like that. They're going to be very similar, but just
Okay.
the fact that they're doing that is a big deal.
Except
But
we're gonna stream all our games on Stadia this generation.
Know where the hell we are.
Okay, so but my problem still is, to the tech junkie, to the person who likes just knowing the tech inside,
Yeah.
that is a cool thing. But to everyone else who's just playing the games, like it was, yes, it was a jump. We expected a jump. What this jump is, like, it wasn't anything as like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Like, oh, it's going to be 8K. Well, it doesn't really matter. And not shocked. Like, nothing seems shocking about this.
you know
Nothing-
what?
Well, see, I there's other points too we'll get to that I'm shocked by. Honestly,
I mean, I agree with
besides
you,
just that.
John, that this is a weird dynamic because it doesn't matter for us. Like, at the end of the day, if I can play the video game, then I'm happy. I don't care about the greatest top of the line specs. No, that comes from a guy with a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One X because I still like to have the best experience I can possibly have. But if you give me an option, and I'll just use this as an example here, is if their game is available on my Switch, that's where I'm getting it. Just because I can take it with me then. It doesn't matter if it looks, 4 times the resolution quality. It's still the same game. It's
Well-
features. How does it make the games better? I don't need bigger worlds. I don't know what that big selling point for the next tech jump is. Yeah, 8K is great in 10 years when I get my 8K TV. But till then, what's the big reason I need it as a consumer? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Keith.
Okay. So some of the other bullet points, some of the other technical. I mean, look, that's all we have to go on right now. Obviously, this is not like the equivalent of an E3 press conference where we're going to see price and games and, oh wow, we can't do that right now. You know what I mean? Like, those are way too powerful. Having an SSD in the system
I think
is
this is a bigger deal.
humongous for load times and
Is
Stuff
that
like that.
going to make it the solid state of play?
Yes.
Jesus, bad jokes. But I mean, hey, anybody that's ever, used an SSD on a computer, the first time you boot up your computer with an SSD compared to using the old mechanical hard drives knows how much of a difference
No,
that makes.
this is the equivalence of saying discs to cartridges. Like, this is huge. This is
in a way, yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very similar in a loading
But
kind of idea.
once again, though, and I'm happy about this. Like, I'm happy about everything I heard. Like, I'm looking forward to the next generation, all that stuff. But once again, like, if people are like, oh my God, this is a big deal, it's like, yeah, but we should have been expecting it, or it's not that surprising.
See, I am genuinely surprised. I am genuinely surprised there are SSDs in these systems because of how expensive they are. Now, we'll see what they have. I think there's 2 ways that they can do this. Okay, I think they can have what a lot of computer setups have, where they have essentially a smaller SSD, let's say a 500 gig SSD.
You want a goddamn fusion drive?
No, I don't want a hybrid drive. Let me speak, and you'll hear what's going on. So,
Yeah, Dave.
I think there's 2 ways. There's either a 1 terabyte SSD, like just flat out, which would still really surprise me because a 1 terabyte SSD in the real world is basically $100. That's a very expensive hard drive to be putting in something that you are mass producing in, 100 million of these things.
It's still cheaper if you're mass producing it, though.
Well, it is, but I'd still be genuinely shocked if they did that. What I think is more likely is that they will have something like the equivalent of the M2 SSDs, but on a smaller level, that will be internal, that you will not be able to take out the way you can take out a hard drive on a PlayStation now.
Right.
And that one will essentially be like your system SSD, and it will keep, like, let's just say, for sake of argument, your 3 most recent games kind of, I'm using the wrong technical term, but kind of like in RAM for, fast play.
Right.
So you can keep, Apex, and for me, everybody's Golf and Rock Band or something kind of fast going right away. And then you'll have your big hard drive. That's a 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, whatever. May even be a mechanical for more storage, which, well, but if you can play your games, for Johnny, you're talking about how this will change games. Mechanical drives takes so much time to load things. You get pop-up things like that hold back what you can do with a game. You have to program around those things. If you can make your game based around the fast access reading of an SSD, there are a million things you can do that you just could not do.
Yeah, no, this
into the game fast enough.
This is bigger to me than anything else.
I mean, I'll agree that this is probably the most important thing that they put out. Well, with the exception of the backwards compatibility with PSVR.
That was my next. Well, but that's a different point, but yes.
But it's still one of those things where, like, and I don't know if anyone's like all jumping up and down excited after hearing this, or if they're just like, okay, cool, let's see what they have. But like, I just feel if people are just getting like overly excited, it's like we didn't see anything or hear anything that like it felt like it was something to get super, super excited about it. Yeah, it's like, okay, this is just the next thing. Like, it seems like when you go from certain consoles to other ones, and you go from the Super Nintendo to the N64, it was like, holy crap, this is a whole different thing, you know.
Well, that was 2D to 3D, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're never seeing that jump again, you know.
Exactly, and that's why it's just like, I want the next system because that's cool, but I'm never gonna get like super, super excited because it's never gonna have something like, I don't predict, or at least for a while until some bizarre technology comes up, that's gonna have something that's just gonna blow me away.
Well, you know what though, with okay, like you brought up PSVR. So I think it's great that it's going to out of the box work with PlayStation VR, and hopefully they'll have inputs built on it where you don't have to have the breakout box. That would be nice. Just plug it.
Hopefully they'll
not deal with that.
Hopefully they'll make a better, less cord version of the PlayStation VR.
And I'm sure that they will do that in like year 2 or year 3. You know, when they can do it with maybe wireless or something like that. But at least you can carry it over. So like, you know, I'll be getting the new Hot Shots Golf VR in like a month. I don't have to worry about keeping my PlayStation 4 around. You know, I can just play all my PlayStation 4 games on my new PlayStation 5 or whatever without having to worry about anything. Things that I bought that I'm, you know, in theory, you know, okay, look, like my PlayStation 3. That thing's hooked up in a room, but I haven't actually touched that thing in reality.
Mine's right here.
In 3, yeah, but are you using it? You know what I mean? In 3 years. I can have all my PlayStation 4 games right on my PlayStation 5. So if I want to play something like Castlevania that I have, you know, something like that, it's right there. We expected backwards compatibility. The big question is, are they going to have further backwards compatibility for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, which they may still have because they do have patents that they have filed in the last few months that are patents in Mark Cerny's name about things for, you know, backwards compatibility issues. So I wouldn't be shocked if we do have, at the minimum, PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1. PlayStation 3 is still iffy because of the cell processor crap, but it'd be nice to have everything kind of in one setting. The only way I could see them have like not PlayStation 5, if they truly do have all the backwards compatibility, why not just release it and just call it PlayStation, flat out PlayStation?
That would be
every
great.
Single PlayStation that ever been could be right there.
That's here's the better name, PlayStation 1.
Or the PlayStation. No, fuck no. Not yeah, like the Xbox One. Yeah, nothing confusing about that. Let's not repeat that. We don't need any Wii U and Xbox One situations.
Well, here's the deal, though. If
the
PlayStation's covering it all, so it's going. The PlayStation at that point will go from the 5 games to the 1 games. It'll go full circle. Just call it the PlayStation 360.
No. Why are all the bad names Xbox names? What's going on here?
I mean, we could call it PlayStation U.
No, God, no.
Yeah, because it's for everybody.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I love the fact that they confirmed backwards compatibility, and we've long expected that with both systems. You know, because of the architecture finally being more of a computer architecture, we've fully expected that when the new Xbox came out and the new PlayStation came out, that it would at the bare minimum work with the previous generation.
Now,
if you got 60 or stuff like that, that was just a great bonus.
Most important, can I play multi-platform games with other consoles yet? Other than Rocket League and Fortnite.
And Fortnite, well, we'll see what they do with that. Hopefully that becomes more of a standard with with this next generation. That would be something that'd be nice for them to do. What I also fully expect to see now, because it is going to be PlayStation 4 compatible, I don't think we'll see any more remasters, at least not like the Last of Us remasters. You know what I mean? Like where it comes out on PlayStation 4, like right at the very end, we'll get like 2 versions of Last of Us 2. I don't think
Yeah.
we'll see that. I think we might see a patch.
I was going to say Xbox
on either system.
Xbox One X enhanced kind of style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see that next generation where you see a bunch of remasters right away because they just have the extra horsepower. Because you can just lowest price is still always going to win, And if somebody can play their game that they already have for free, which they're going to be able to if they have the PlayStation 4 version, so they'll just play it. I mean, you won't sell nearly as much with this backwards compatibility built right in. So hopefully we won't see very much of that. You'll buy, Death Stranding, and you just use it on whichever system you have.
Yeah, but why are you buying Death Stranding?
I want to walk in goo all the time.
Ah.
Is there any other big points here, Keith?
I don't think there. I mean, to me, like I said, I know. I understand where Johnny's coming from, but to me, it's been a long time for people that are younger. It used to be that when a new console came out, it used to actually be like, oh wow, like you can't even do that with computers. People forget 3D cards on computers only became a thing in the mid 90s, like the 3D cards the way you think of them now. PCs used to be behind consoles, and it's been a long time since we've had a console come out that you could look at it and actually say, wow, that's a jump. Like that can compete and be ahead of PCs on day one. Because if you put the equivalent of like an i7 in a console with, let's just call this new thing about the equivalent of like having like a 2070 or something like that, but you're in a closed box where you're not dealing with all the overhead issues that computers have, that's a really, really significant system, which is not what you could say about the PlayStation and Xbox when they first came out this past generation. That's a big deal to me.
I understand the big deal, and I understand the whole, like, these numbers are cool. Yeah. It's still nothing that's gotten me like super excited. There's still nothing I've seen. And granted, this is the very first thing we've seen at all. So,
right.
We'll wait, see what happens at E3.
Like, when people actually have a chance to mess with this.
Yeah, but like
what they said about like Spider-Man, just like the fast jumping, like how much faster that was.
Yeah.
Then that's kind of the SSD thing, and I know that's just a loading time thing, but that goes back into what we were talking about with what you can do with loading time in other aspects of making a game.
I'm just wondering if either console, once it fully reveal, if either one of them will make me go, man, I really need to get that pretty soon after it launches.
I'll get a PlayStation 4 day one just because of the backwards compatibility, because I can essentially get rid of my PlayStation 4 and just move forward.
I would agree with you.
Keep my PS4.
I would agree. Well, I'm gonna keep mine because I have a Spider-Man PS4 that I played one game on called Spider-Man for PS4.
I still have PT on mine, so I wonder if I'd be able to transfer that over. I probably won't be able to. Well, I can transfer it from PlayStation to PlayStation. I don't know if I'd be able to transfer it to a PlayStation 5. That's going to be.
You need to keep that thing and one day sell it for a lot of money.
You need to account that as part of the price when you sell that PS4.
Yeah, but I'd have to sell my whole account. I can't just sell that, that system.
Good luck.
It's on my main account. It's not on my, I'd lose all my sales of everything ever. So,
I still don't care until they show me a game. So,
I'm interested to see what they can do though with all this extra horsepower. And hey, you know what? It'll help with VR. I'm really interested to see if with all this extra horsepower, if like the new PlayStation VR is kind of on the level of like what the Vive or the Oculus are now. I like my PlayStation, VR, but to me the biggest advantage of the PlayStation VR isn't the hardware, it's the software that Sony has paid to put on there exclusively. Things like Astrobot and stuff like that you can't get anywhere else. But if it can be also technically as high as those other things now, also that'd be unbelievable.
Also,
that's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is. Like new consoles, I'll get them eventually. But they come out with the new PSVR and it's like an upgrade enough. That's day one purchase.
You know what I'm most excited for about all this?
What's that?
If the Xbox One S all digital editions are really, really cheap on clearance, I can have an Xbox in every room when nobody buys them.
That's kind of sad. It's like.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Forget Being Cool News. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button. If you guys want more discussions, we put up video game discussions every Tuesday and Thursday with these lovely gentlemen right here on this show. They're doing shows with me. This is Forget Being Cool. Hit that subscribe button. I said that already. I'm Dave Moore. That's Jonny Casino and Keith Dahl.
Hit it twice. It's just as nice.
No. Don't hit it twice. If you hit it twice, then you unsubscribe. I get an email that says you subscribed, and then I get an email that says somebody unsubscribed. It's sad. Don't do that. We'll see you guys in another video here on Forget Being Cool.
Thanks for watching or listening to Forget Being Cool. If you enjoyed our show, share it with your friends. If you'd like to help us out, hit that like button. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Then subscribe to Forget Being Cool. We discuss the things you love.